Okay. Okay, Amanda, it's 7 o'clock. Fire away.
Unless Wanda wanted to chair. She's still here.
Yeah, if you want to chair, please do.
I'm not too good at this.
If I do.
Okay. All right. So
Hold
I'm
on.
going to open the meeting at 7:02. And we have, looks like we have a quorum here today. We have Bill, Ed, Linda, Kevin, and David.
Yep.
Great. Let's start with the building and board of health applications. So 157 Our Street, I believe this is an NOI that we actually permitted previously. Is anyone here for that project? Okay, so yeah, I believe that's an NOI we didn't get out over last year, but I've typed it up and I sent it out for Kathy to sign. So you guys should have got that in your emails.
It's Tim Healy's project. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, which is 8 School Street. Is anyone here for that?
That's us.
Okay. And you are Teresa, did you say your last
And
name?
Robert, Teresa and Robert LaVerge.
LaVerge. Okay. So tell us about your project.
We're going to put an addition on the side of the house on a slab. It's not going to have a cellar or anything like that. And I sent over the architectural plans Laura Gay drew up. Yep, that's them. And that's about it.
It's 18 by 28, the side of the house.
Okay, I got you.
Did anyone have any questions?
Yeah, could someone maybe go on Mass GIS or Google Earth and just take a quick look at the property?
I did look at it earlier. There was nothing that stood out to me, but I'm going to double check again.
Okay, thank you.
This is Ed Chaplin, Granby Concom. I took a look at this earlier too. This is just south of the intersection of Bachelor and School. I didn't observe any wetlands on Mass GIS.
Oh, it's way up. It's up in the north area. It's off of Bachelor Street then. Okay.
Correct.
Well, I always thought the numbers were increasing heading north. I didn't realize it was the other way around.
Yeah, it looks like this area is all upland.
Yeah. I like the eyebrow window on the gabled end. That looks nice.
So are we all set with that?
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yay!
Yeah, you guys are all set.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now I can walk up and down the stairs. I can just walk through the dining room into the bedroom.
Nice. No, it's
Bill,
going to be a nice
Amanda,
project.
we have the application here. Wenda and I will initialize it and leave it for Kathy.
Okay, great.
Now,
Yeah,
do
again-
we have to go in front of anybody, anything else? I mean, or is it all set now, or do we have to go?
As far as we're concerned, it's what we call NPR, no permit required. So
What is
you
that?
don't require a permit from us. You may require a permit from the building inspector, of course, or one of the
Oh,
other
yeah.
municipal committees.
Now, does our builder do that or we do it?
Well, that's a complicated
right.
story. From a liability point of view, it's always best if the builder pulls the building permit.
Okay.
All right.
You know, I'm not a
But is
lawyer,
that
but if, yeah,
is that
I'm
what
not a lawyer, but if you pull the building permit and somebody gets hurt on the job, then it's a big problem.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have,
He already filled it all out and
Wanda
everything.
has that right here.
Okay. Yeah, I'd let
Okay.
your contractor handle that.
Now, do we have to go in front of the Board of Health and all that, or are we good with that, or I don't understand?
Well, I think you might want to run it by them and show that there's no bedroom or doesn't constitute a bedroom. Otherwise, you may get into an issue with your leach field, but I would certainly run it by them at this point.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
Okay? Good luck with your new project.
thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
So we can exit the meeting?
Yes, you may. Thank you so much for coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, bye. Bye. Good evening.
Bye now, good night.
Bye-bye.
Good one. Okay, so the next project on the agenda is 107 Our Carver Street. This is
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
I believe this is actually for,
Okay.
okay. Would you like to present?
Yeah, it's my project, John Plaza. And I have my engineer, Neil Jackson, with me. I constructed a 50 by 30 garage, and when I did the permit, I didn't realize I had to do a special meeting for the conservation, but now here I am, so.
Okay, and what was your
Yeah,
name
what-
again?
John Plaza.
Yeah, this project,
Okay.
We still got
the
to
house was given your blessing.
Yeah,
Do that.
I don't know.
Just an editorial comment. I wanted to thank Kathy Leonard online for putting together the Dropbox filing system for us, which is a heck of a lot easier than us fishing through our emails for things. So Kathy, thank you again for doing this for us. Yeah, I'm looking at these photos on Dropbox now. All I see is a bunch of snow. Now, on my photos that we're looking at, I see some handwritten notes. Do you know who wrote those handwritten notes? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
These photos were taken February of this year.
Are you guys checking up the aerial photos? So the pond is across the road. I don't know if there's on the other side of the road there.
Okay, I'm reading a letter of denial from the building department. That really doesn't affect us too much.
Bill, if I could,
Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
this is under a site plan special permit because of the size of the garage.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it was approved, but it's,
Yeah, the scuttlebutt that I've heard is that Mr. Plazik built the garage prior to securing a building permit. But again, that really has nothing to do with the commission. We just want to make sure that there's no wetlands in the vicinity of the project, and that if there were, that he would have filed for at least a RDA.
Is anyone else familiar with this site? Because based on Mass Oliver, it doesn't look like there's any jurisdictional areas on the site.
Right, there is, and you guys signed off on the house was constructed last year, 2020, so you guys signed off on it originally for the septic design and that placement of the house. And though you didn't find any resource areas at that time.
Do you have that signature, Neil? Do you have that documentation?
Well, where you signed off on the septic system?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
Does it have the garage depicted on the plan?
No, that was added on after, just.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
So that's kind of a moot point. So we got to kind of look at this again then. Okay.
Okay,
No, I was
Thank you.
trying to get an idea of if we had like boots on the ground, like if there's any reason we are concerned about wetlands.
I think in the spirit of being conservative, I think it'd be prudent to have a or several commissioners visit the site and do a walk around now that the snow's melted. What do you guys think?
I guess it depends on if there's availability.
I'm guessing he's 100 feet away from the pond, but I don't know if there's any wetlands out behind that house.
Well, how about if we do a Saturday morning, like a 9 o'clock Saturday morning walk around?
I'm not sure if I'll be around on Saturday.
Okay. Dave, Kevin, would you guys be around?
Be around, yep.
Okay.
I'll be
Kevin?
around.
Yeah, this Saturday I will.
Okay, okay. Wenda, would you be available?
I might be.
Okay. All right, so we'll have at least 3 folks, maybe 4. Ed, I think Ed works Saturday. Ed, you work in the morning Saturday, don't you?
That's correct. I'm out on Saturday.
Okay, okay. So at least we'll have 3 or 4 of us that can go out there. Again, bear in mind, it's information collection only, no decision-making, no substantive discussion, but we would just simply do a walk around. So I propose we meet there at 9 a.m. Mr. Palaz, is that okay with you?
Classic. Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay. So what, Dave, why don't you put in the minutes that we'll go at 9 a.m. on Saturday? Thank you.
Got it.
And what, is there a mailbox with 107 on it?
107R. So we're in the back, behind 107. Yeah.
Any further discussion or gonna move on to the next one? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to the next project.
John, thank you. We'll see you Saturday. Thank you.
Okay, you got it. Thanks.
Okay, so the next project is on Bachelor Street for Holly. Someone here for that project?
Hi, Samantha's on the line.
Hi. So why don't you tell us about the project?
Sure. So we purchased the lot 1 on Bachelor Street, and we just proposed to have the structure that was on the original plans that you guys approved increased. So we went back to the engineer. We had him redraw the plans with the new size of the building to show the grading like you guys had asked for from the meeting last month. So we, I had sent those off. Hopefully you guys also got them. I sent them only to Bill, so I don't know if he was able to forward them off to the rest of you guys, but the engineer had stated that the redrawn picture, the grading didn't change, so there was no additional disturbance with the change in the size of the proposed structure. So we just, submitted it to see if you guys will approve, so we can move forward with like submitting for permits and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Did anyone else have any comments or discussion?
Having a hard
Was that Wenda? If you guys have two, no, it wasn't.
I'm just trying to find Samantha's file here. Is
It's
it-
called
is it in-
NOI Report Bachelor Street. I think it's in the building permit folder.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I got it. Okay, thank you.
So yeah, so you should see the original, he zoomed in, so you guys could actually see them
Yeah,
this time,
yeah,
because
that-
the
that-
original one was quite small, so, or
That's right.
large.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for, a more readable version of the previous and the proposed change. Thank you.
Yep, and he said if you wanted to print, it would be 11 by 17 for the scale that he drew it in this time.
Okay. Well, the same thing. I go to site plan appendix E and nothing shows up, just the cover page that says site plans.
Yeah, I don't see the site plan either. That's what I was
I
just
don't see
wondering.
any site plans, so I don't know how we can say
Uh,
anything.
Well, let me
It tells
find it.
I'm
Let
gonna
me
double
see.
check my email.
Yeah, let me go to what Samantha had sent me earlier. Oh, okay, this is the SK1 and the
Yes.
SK2R1. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, we actually had them last meeting, but we couldn't decipher the cryptic coding of SK1. So I'm gonna send SK1 to everybody, then I'll send SK2R1 to everybody. So please stand by. Mark, I sent it to you too, so you guys are all gonna get this momentarily. Okay, that's out. All right, next one. Okay, here comes, let's see. Whoops. Okay, here comes SK2R1.
Are they large files, Bill?
No, they should come down pretty quickly. They're about 100 kilobytes a piece. They're compressed PDF files. They should be easy
Yeah.
to decipher. Okay, here they come. And I'm just gonna entitle this one, Lot 1 Revised. And Mark, I'll send this to you as well. Okay, it's in the ether. There we go. Okay. Okay, everybody should have access to those now.
I have not received it yet.
Okay. Now, Samantha, what's your construction schedule right now?
So we don't have anything scheduled yet, because we don't even have plans for the building yet, because we don't know how large we're gonna be allowed to build. So once you guys approve
Okay.
this, then we're gonna go off and try to have a designer put together the sketch, and then we'll have our, submit the septic plans and try to get the permits for the septic and get that road built, and then do the septic and well and have the foundation built. So we'd like to
Now,
do it this year.
Are you gonna hire a contractor? Are you gonna GC it
Yes.
yourself or hire a contractor?
Oh, no, yeah, we're not gonna GC it ourselves. We have a contractor, but we just don't have anything for him to do yet, because we don't know how big to get the
gotcha.
plans drawn. Yeah,
I
so
got you. Okay. Okay.
baby steps.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, again, I just was wondering how critical the path's always critical, but it sounds like you still have a fair amount of design work to do. Okay,
Well, I mean, we pretty much know what we want. We just have to, and we have a designer. We just have to contact her after you guys tell us how big. So
okay, okay. Okay, well, I'm looking, did anyone receive the 2 sets at this point?
I haven't, not yet.
I've noticed that my internet always stops working around 7 o'clock at night, so it's always great.
What was the file number on this one, Bill?
Good question. Stand by, please.
is there like a file share that I can upload this to that's public or something, or?
I'm not sure.
Well,
Okay.
Not that we have set up.
Samantha, you know what your DEP file number is, do you not? Don't you?
No, I have no idea what that is.
I just got the SK1 bill.
Okay, well, the SK2 will be following shortly. Mark, can you go into your database, see if this is on it?
That's what I'm looking at, but I don't see a lot 1 Bachelor Street.
It was in 2019, if that helps.
2010?
2019.
Oh, 2019.
Yes, it was fairly recently permitted.
And who was the applicant?
I think it was Al Joyce of East
Okay,
Long.
Yeah.
Bedrock Financial, right?
Yes,
Okay, that's 165-0333. It doesn't say in my database lot 1, it just says Bachelor Street.
okay, that's it then.
Single
That's it.
family house in the buffer zone. Heather
Yep.
was the consultant.
Heather
Yeah.
Connie. Me. Okay, so from the original plans, is any of the impervious footprint closer to the wetland, or any of the work area closer to the wetland?
So the engineer stated that the work area didn't change, so there's no changes to the grading. He said there's no additional disturbance, if that's what you mean.
Okay,
I think what we actually have to do is we have to actually put the 2 PDFs side by side on the computer screen, because the changes are fairly subtle between the 2 documents. In trying to flip back and forth between the 2, is, it's like playing the game of concentration. It's pretty tough. So I would recommend if anyone can put the two side by side on the screen, it would be really, really helpful.
Bill, just for my benefit, SK1 is the original site plan and SK2R1 is the revised site plan?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Okay. So far I've received SK1. I haven't received the second one yet.
I mean, the limited work looks the same. The grades look relatively the same.
Yep. Mark,
Yes,
can you?
John Kapinski is the engineer, and he stated that there's no additional disturbance, there's no changing to the grading. The change in the building didn't change anything around it.
No.
And do you have a copy of the COC or the OOC that we issued, like the permit from us? Because I believe we stipulated that, I think it was monuments or something we did to demarcate wetlands for the protected areas.
That's right. I do recall that, Amanda.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is the orange diamonds that he has on the drawings.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
those stayed the same. Those
those are
stayed the
marked
same.
But there's a document that outlines all of it, and it's required to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds prior to construction. And then you have to come back to us and get a certificate of completion to have it removed. It
Yeah.
encumbers the deed.
Yeah, I think that was all in that. I received a packet from you guys after I purchased the land, so it had like an NOI and some other things. I think that was all in there.
I was just looking at it. I didn't see our portion. I only saw the application portion, which is what the applicant sends to us. It didn't have what we wrote back, permitting it.
I'm wondering if
I can go online and get a copy if you want.
You can try.
actually,
I'll
if
get it
someone,
now.
if someone could go to the Registry of Deeds website and see if this is recorded, that would be terrific. And I think this should have been recorded because it's been such a long time. Ed, would you have time to do that, please?
It was issued on May 5th, 2020.
Oh, Heather's here. Hi, Heather.
She's muted.
Yep. Ed, are you there? Ed's frozen right now.
I'm
I
here.
know it's cold in the building, but
I think he was home today.
the change I'm seeing is that the building's bumped out to the front. It's bumped out to the south. Again, this is just trying to memorize the two versions. SK1 has the house more or less square. SK2 has it's essentially an L-shaped structure with it bumped out to the southwest, which is away from the wetland edge.
Let me send you guys an email with your special conditions. I'll do that
Okay.
right now.
Yep, thanks. Oh, Emily's here. Hi, Emily.
Hello.
Hi. Did you get nailed by any Portuguese man of war down Florida today?
No, I did not.
I've got nailed with those twice, and they still sting.
All right, I just sent you a copy of your special conditions.
Okay, thank you.
And
Emily,
Mark, you
which
said it
project?
was- Sorry, Linda.
I was just wondering what project Emily was on, because I'm writing this stuff down.
I'm here for a couple of items, but I think the first on the agenda is for Eversource.
Okay.
And I was gonna
Thank
ask Mark, the issuance date was May 2020? Was that what you said?
Yeah, May 5th, 2020.
It says RFA boundary nearest work shall be staked in the field.
You want me to try it? Do it, Ed?
So
I'm on the
I'm-
registry site now.
Yeah, so the question is RFA boundary nearest work area shall be staked in the field. What do we mean by that? Oh, here it is. Permanent BVW wetland monuments shall be erected as per review and approval by the commission. Okay, there we go.
I don't see the order's been recorded yet.
Heather's here. Maybe she can enlighten us. Yeah, road crossing equalization pipe shall be twin 12-inch pipe as noted on plan.
So Heather, we're looking at this Lot 1 Bachelor Street project. It has gone to a different owner and they're looking to make some modifications, and we are just trying to look into the past information and whether it was recorded.
I have no idea, actually. I haven't done anything on that project, since it was passed.
Amanda, this is Ed. I just looked at the registry of deeds and I couldn't find anything recorded either.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
the
technically, it doesn't need to be recorded until just before the work starts.
Okay, the question is, when do we want the monuments to be put in place? It would make sense to put the monuments in prior to earthwork.
I would agree with that.
We're not sure we have the stipulation yet now, because we've already approved it.
So the question is, when are the monuments going to go in the ground?
I think the more immediate question might be, based on what we have been presented with, can we just do is it an amended order of conditions, or is it just a minor change?
That's exactly correct.
Because if we do amended, maybe we could add a stipulation that they have to do the monuments first or something like that. But I think, yeah. Mark?
Yeah,
How do you recommend we approach this?
well, I cannot interpret your special condition. The only issue I have, I'm looking, and this is addressed to Heather, is I'm looking at the special conditions and you note that some IBW is filled, right? And one of my comments was any BVW or IVW fill is going to be 401. What happened?
There wasn't a subdivision of land, so it didn't require a 401.
I thought this was a subdivision. That was one of my comments.
No, if it became a subdivision of land.
Oh, okay. My apologies then. Okay.
And we had submitted the form to the Army Corps, and there was no issues with it.
What, you sent the SV? Self-verification?
Yes, yep.
Okay. Which they don't even read those, by the way. But, it won't need a 401 unless you further subdivide the land.
Right.
So, Bill, I cannot interpret your special condition. That's up to the commission to do that.
That's why I was querying the commission as to what we meant by putting the boundary posts in. The question is, common sense says the boundary post should go in prior to construction. At least that way, when they're doing earthwork, they'll say, hey, there's a boundary post. We better stay way off of that. It makes no sense to put the boundary posts in after the house is built.
Bill, on that comment there, I believe that's true, what you just said. Because I don't think the person who filed for the permit is is on the building permit now. So the new owners need to know where the boundary lines are, with the limit of work. So I would
Right.
agree with your assessment that they need to be put in at this point before the construction starts.
You know, frankly, since it's been over a year, the wetland flags could have deteriorated by now as well.
And there's a general condition in every order that requires the flags to be up if you're working in close proximity to the BVW.
Okay.
So they might have to be refreshed.
Yeah, Samantha, I would recommend that you have a professional, i.e. Heather, refresh the wetland flags and maybe assist you with arranging to have the boundary post put in.
It says in the special conditions, permanent BVW wetland monuments shall be erected as per review and approval by Granby Conservation Commission.
Right. I think we had some discussion as to what physical characteristic the boundary post was to be consisting of. I think one option was a bluebird box with a wooden post, which I don't think is very durable. The other extreme would be an 8-inch sonotube, which certainly would be a lot of work, but they'd be super durable.
I think we were open to whatever they preferred to use, but they could adorn it, you know, with a bluebird house
Right.
or something of
That's
that
right.
nature that makes it more aesthetic.
That's right.
So we just want
Yeah,
to
if you put an
provide
8-inch
flexibility to
sonotube and you sink a pipe in the sonotube and put a bluebird house atop that would be fine.
But I
So I
guess
think-
my big question mark is,
What
based on.
what about steel posts for the, these markers?
There to delineate the extent of like future impacts. So it's not just the building footprint, or sorry, it is to delineate the limit of work for this project. So the silt fence and erosion controls will go along that line, but these markers are specifically permanent so that you know not to mow beyond that line or to encroach upon the resource area. So it's kind of like your permanent marker of protected areas that have like restrictions and limitations. So you would need a permit to do anything beyond those markers.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for these markers, what about a steel post? Like, does it have to be an 8-inch sonotube or some kind of a birdhouse, or can we just go in and put,
We
you know,
left it
like
kind
a,
of open.
a goat fencing stake? I mean, those are extremely difficult to remove from the ground once you put them in. So
Yeah, I'd like something durable that's tamper-proof. That
yeah, a goat fencing stake. I mean, if you put one of those in the ground, you literally like can't pull it out unless you hook up a truck to it. So
okay, what diameter are those stakes?
I think they're like 2 inches.
they're like 2 inches wide, and you can get them in any kind of length. Like I've got some in my yard right now that are 8 feet.
Okay, well, I think maybe we can consider that. Again, they have to be visible and durable.
I've used those before. The frost will throw those. We've required at least sonotubes. I've seen like a minimum of like a 4 or 6 inch for other towns.
Was it 4 or 6?
Yeah, I think a 4-inch is a happy medium. 3 to 4-inch tube is a happy medium. They're not quite as arduous to put in as an 8-inch sonotube, but again, they seem to hold up okay.
Could I interrupt? I've seen in other commissions use lally columns, cut them in half, and those are the markers. Little hard to cut the lally column in half unless you have a chain cutter. Or the other possibility is concrete bounds, which you could purchase at, pre-manufactured concrete shop.
Yeah.
And
You know,
those are
We've cut lolly columns in the past with a tube cutter and a sledgehammer. You score the tube and then you snap them. They snap right off.
correct. Or there's a chain, they use a chain, you wrap it around it. And
Right.
lays on.
I thought
So
Kevin, any thoughts as to what might work for us?
This needs to be recorded.
Yeah, I don't know. Kev, you got any input from your work at the golf course?
Oh, I probably the preference of the homeowner, whatever is easiest for them to do.
Yeah, but again, it's got to be something durable too and visible.
Yeah, personally, sonotube, I think that's a good idea. I think it's pretty easy, straightforward.
How
Okay,
high are the ground?
How high out of the ground do these have to be?
that's
We have
always an
not
interesting
specified
question.
anything, really.
My thought
So
is
there
if
is
it's
a
an
lot of
8-inch
flexibility
sonotube, not very high, but if it's something else, you might want to have it up at least a foot beyond grade.
Okay. How about like a piece of some electrician, so I can get like 3-inch steel conduit at a reasonable price? So if we take some 3-inch steel conduit, fill it full of concrete and
Yep.
paint it neon orange, would that work?
Yep, I think that's a good plan. I would at least embed it 3 feet into the ground. I don't think you have to go a full 4-foot frost protection, but I'd say 36-inch embedment, put the conduit in the ground, fill it up with concrete and call it a day. I think that's a good plan.
Okay,
Okay,
because that,
You guys- does everyone
that's
agree?
something- I can get it in bulk at a reasonable price for us, and then, like I said, we can yeah, some neon orange paint, like the marker paints.
That's fair. Everyone in the commission think that's reasonable?
Yes, but also I do want to say that it doesn't have to be decided officially on this moment. It's just that is one of the long-term kind of in perpetuity conditions. So it will be at the edge of your lawn. It will be in your line of sight. So, we want it to be appealing to you as well. We don't, so
I can live
there
with
is some, okay. Just checking. I don't want you to feel pressured to decide right now because we still have to
Yeah,
figure out some things.
so what about can we install that at the same time that we're doing the silt fence? Because I believe you said that these markers go along with the silt fence. So wouldn't, like,
They
can we
match
just-
the same line, and I believe some of the commissioners would like to see them go in early on before the project starts. But I
That would
believe the
make-
way that we wrote it, we only needed it to be done before we can close out the permit, basically. So once, by the time the project was over, it had to be completed.
Can we use those
But
markers
earlier is
to,
better.
can we use those markers to hold our silt fence?
Don't know if that is feasible.
I don't think they're going to be close enough together to provide any structural support between the markers. You
They
need more
look to
than,
run the same line on the plan.
yeah. But I think
Amanda.
sooner the better. Sooner the better to get those in.
What do our list of requirements that we can use for silt fence? Like bales
Amanda.
of hay?
Oh, no.
Ed, are you?
Yeah,
saying something?
man, this is Ed Chapdelaine talking.
Yes.
We're past our 7:30 public hearings.
Right.
And I believe this is item number 2, Bachelor Street. Permitted and notice of intent last year, Heather Comey and Al Joyce. I'm guessing this is the same topic.
I believe so.
Okay, because it's also, is this Bachelor Street Holly?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we've got 2 on the agenda. But I just want to remind you that we're into our public hearings at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
So I just
Yes.
wanted to double check with Mark. Mark, for what we're looking at with the proposed modifications to the approved NOI, referring
Okay.
to just the house.
Approved
footprint,
order of conditions, right.
approved order of conditions. If we were to accept this modification to the footprint of the house and that that's changing, would we have to do an amended order of conditions, or is this something that would be a minor change?
That's up to you to decide whether it's a minor change where you approve it within the minutes or it needs an actual amended orders hearing. That's totally up to the commission to decide.
So
So-
again, the engineer had stated that the level of work or the limit of work didn't change whatsoever. The grading didn't change. There was no additional disturbance with the change in the size of the structure.
I understand. I just wanted to double check with the commissioners as well, especially because they are raising all these other kind of additional stipulations on the already permitted project. So if they wanted to implement those, they would have to do the amended as opposed to accepting what we've already kind of approved with your modifications as presented on the plan. So commissioners, are you satisfied approving it as, you know, as things are and as the orders are currently written?
I don't have an issue with it. It seems like it's a minor change. It's within the limits, I believe, of what was first proposed. So that's my opinion.
I feel
I agree with that. I
I
think it's a minor
agree, but
thing.
I want it recorded in the registry of deed before any work gets started, and I want all the wetland flags to be in place.
And that is required that they record it. So just so you guys, it is a requirement to record this at the registry of deeds prior to breaking ground. So you know now. And it does expire on May 5th, 2023. So you do have still some time. So it's not like that's a huge window necessarily.
So is
So do
this
we have any
Amanda a rewrite or is it an amended? I guess that's my question.
This is a minor modification that we can approve through the minutes that does not require a amended order.
That's correct.
Minor modification.
Yes.
And you can note that there's no increase in alteration to the site or something of that shows they're not increasing their footprint.
I've got that already. Thank you.
Sam, did you have any additional questions?
Yes, so so as far as the recording with the registry of deeds, what am I actually recording with the registry of deeds?
That is a fair point. We have to get the proper NOI document. The original was signed and delivered to the applicant, as far as I know. So that needs to be recorded at the registry. Mark, can we just print a new one or how do we do this?
Well, what happened to the original one?
Yeah, it has to carry the signatures and it
The
has to
actual
have the
signature.
special conditions attached.
Well, that's the question. We don't know.
So
what the
no-
original plan-
Nobody knows where the original is?
Nope.
Heather,
No.
do you have the original?
No, the one that I have here, doesn't actually have signatures, probably because it was done during, the beginning of, COVID.
Okay,
So it was signed electronically.
okay.
But in order for that to be recordable, then the commission vote that allowed one person to sign or the electronic signatures, that vote has to be recorded at the registry. So, I mean, if you have to, you might have to print out a new one and do new original signatures. Have you guys taken a vote to allow one person to sign for the commission?
We have not
Is it-
taken a formal vote. We
No.
did it via email with our, the city's assistant, the secretary for the city.
Yeah, currently, Mark,
I,
Kathy
um,
Leonard has been
I
signing on
have
behalf of the
a copy.
commissioners.
So I was emailed a copy of the NOI report, if that's what you guys were talking about. And it
It's
has a,
Form 5 order of conditions. That's what the form is. Form
Yeah, you
5
have-
order of conditions.
You have
I don't
the-
know, I have something that's signed and stamped.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what's sent to us. Do we just keep the original date? And we're good?
Yes, because all you're, it's a ministerial function. You're not actually taking a vote. It's just a ministerial function. I mean, the original issuance date will remain the same, May 5th.
Okay. So yes, we'll do that and get it to Kathy Leonard so that she can do our signature and get it to you for, so that you can record it.
Perfect.
Any additional questions? Sorry, I know this is confusing.
No, I mean, I think I'm good. So as far as the staking of the boundaries for the orange diamonds that are on that sheet, how do I coordinate with you guys to get you to come out to look at it after we do that?
You can email Kathy Leonard with the city and she does most of our correspondence.
Okay.
Yeah. So most things just go through her.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, you need to let us know, 72 hours or once the silt fence is installed.
So what I need to do is put these wetland boundaries in and also do the silt fence and then have you guys come out and look at all of that.
That's the preferred plan, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Sam. Hey, thank you. I'm glad we could finally get this wrapped up for you. I know it's taken a while. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm just glad to know how large we can go so we can actually have a designer draw up plans for us now.
Of course. And again, in the event it changes again, come on back and we'll do this all over again. But just don't make it too abrupt a change. Then that will trigger an amended OOC. So.
Yeah, we're not going to make any more changes, so we're
Okay.
good.
All right, no worries. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, so going back to some of our scheduled hearings, at 7:20, we had Nina Abbott for Forge Pond Dam. Is Nina here?
Yes, hi.
Yes, she is.
Hi.
So, yeah. So today I'm here with as a representative of Friends of Forge Pond. And last month I spoke to the select board and talked to them a little bit about how we're going about trying to get grant monies to repair the dam and dike. And they gave us their blessing to proceed and try to get some grant money from different organizations. So I decided to come here and maybe talk to you guys, see where you're at with Forge Pond. Like, for example, the phase 2 report that was sent to the town, has anybody seen it on conservation? Just wondering.
I spoke to Dave Leonard, your engineer.
Oh, great. Awesome.
But I think I had actually looked at the report a year or two ago, but I really don't recall too much about what it had to say, Anita. But all I know is there were some substantial upgrades that needed to be executed in the field.
Right. The good thing is those upgrades are a lot cheaper than, dismantling the dam or just letting it go. That would be a lot more expensive. So, I think we have a good chance of getting this one particular grant we're going for. But one thing in the grant I'm concerned about was there was a permit called the Municipal Conservation Commission Order of Conditions Permit. Is that something that once we get the monies and there's a plan in place, then we would come to you guys and ask you to give to us?
Yeah, that would be that'd be a standard NOI, just as we've done with all our applicants tonight. Dam projects typically require notices of intent because you're working within land underwater or bordering vegetated wetland. So that's standard practice, and that would be permitted through this commission.
Okay. So once we actually have what plan we're doing and we get the monies in place, then we come back to you?
Yes.
Try to get that permit. Okay, great. So it's not something you could do now?
Oh, no. We have to see the engineering plans and all the erosion control and so on and so forth. So it has to be an engineered system that we can approve.
Okay.
I would think you would probably have to get the grant to do the design phase and some of this other stuff before you would get to the point of coming to the commission. Just because all of that engineering stuff tends to be really expensive, and that's what we review for the NOI.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. That's all I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, Nita, thank you. Good to talk to you.
You too. Thank you.
Coming in.
Bye.
Okay, so up next on the agenda, I believe we have already completed the Bachelor Street permit. There's no other Bachelor Street permit on the agenda tonight, correct? Anyone else out there? No? Seeing and hearing none. Move on to our third item tonight, which is the enforcement order for 53 Porter Street. I believe we are waiting to do a site visit once some vegetation starts coming back to take a look at it before we sign off. Is
Yep.
that true? No one's here
Yes.
for an update? Great. Next item on the agenda is,
Amanda, before you go too far, you're skipping number 1. Are you the Granby Kestrel Trust? Is there anything we
oh,
should talk
sorry,
about
we
there?
actually did that one last time, and so my brain went right over it. Is anyone here for the Granby Kestrel Land Trust? No?
So just
Okay.
move it to next meeting.
Well, I believe we already acknowledged this. It was that Kestrel Land Trust changed its name or its organization structure.
Right.
We acknowledged and accepted that legal change.
It should be removed from the agenda then.
Correct. So the next item is number 4 is the NOI 165-0349 filed by Cold Spring Environmental Consultants, Inc., representing Glenn Martin, owner, for a proposed barn shed replacement in existing grass structure area at an existing single-family home with regards to 177 West State Street and known as Map 3C, Lot 9 in the town of Granby.
Hi, Al.
Greetings. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Okay.
We're here.
Okay, Al, this is your riverfront project that we spoke about. Mark's here tonight, so we've got all the heavy hitters here tonight, so fire away.
Yeah, Mark and I have already talked about this. It seems time flies. It was almost a month ago. Mark responded, or over a month ago, and I did respond to his concerns. I provided a new table and the square footage of. We're taking a barn out and putting a barn in here. The new barn will have actually increased offset to the resource area. There will be no change in grade. Siltation control is shown in the plan you have in front of you. I hope you do have a plan. And the delineation is really not a struggle. It's pretty straightforward. I think those of you who know that location at the intersection on West State Street are probably pretty familiar. It's an old farmhouse there that's there now. And he's just simply trying to make a better barn. And I think in the end, it's going to be an improvement for sure in terms of offset. And the plan highlights the locations, the dimensions, the work area. As I said, siltation control, fire away with any questions you have. I can get into more detail if you'd like, but, not sure what you would want to inquire. There's a I could just elaborate. There's a removal of an existing barn. There is a removal there's an existing slab where there was a shed prior. All that is going to rearrange to have less square footage impacted in this previously degraded area, and therefore meets riverfront requirements at this point. And in the end, once it's regraded and restabilized and monuments installed for permanent markers, I think it's a win-win for the property owner and for the requirements and regrowth as stated on the plan.
Okay, so the existing barn is 664 square feet.
Yep.
There's a concrete slab at 310 square feet. That's out. So essentially, you're losing close to 1,000 square feet.
Correct.
In your you're inserting a 560 square foot barn.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the regulatory question is, why can't you take the new barn and move it out of the, let's just say to the south, to increase its offset from the riverfront area? Why can't you do that?
And I'm going to give you the standard consultant answer, which is that's where the client asked to have it.
That's right, of course. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn it to regulation. Mark, does he have to do an alternatives analysis, or has he done an alternatives analysis in your opinion?
Under redevelopment, you don't have to do an alternatives analysis. However, one of the performance standards of riverfront redevelopment addresses that very question. So if the barn could be moved farther away or outside the riverfront, and they choose to keep it where the client wants it, which is in this case, that potentially you owe, 1-to-1 restoration or 2-to-1 mitigation. That's all.
Yep, that's what I was driving at. So that's the question for the commission to decide. I guess there's 3 possible outcomes. Let Mr. Martin go as Al proposed with no mitigation or restoration. B, invoke restoration, or C, invoke mitigation.
Or B and C can be both. You can do both restoration and mitigation.
Okay.
So there is a mitigation plan on there. I don't know if you saw the regrowth strip of 1,298 square feet, 11 feet wide. Therefore, what will happen here is instead of mowing up to the top of the bank, which is what's going on now, and whatever cutting he does there, that will allow to regrow. So that is accommodated in this plan.
But isn't that the improvement over existing conditions under 1058-5A?
That is also that.
So you're calling it a combination of improvement and mitigation?
Correct.
Okay.
So what is the function of the barn? I saw a note about chickens. Is it related to that, or am I misreading things?
Hello, my name is Glenn. I'm the homeowner, and no, to call it a barn is probably a little bit of a misrepresentation. It's more of a storage shed.
Okay.
The external look is a barn. Is that correct?
That is correct. And not to say, I mean, unless I'm told otherwise, it's not like I have plans to put animals in there, but I suppose it's in the realm of possibility in the future unless that's excluded.
I was just curious because I don't know why it says like 11-inch regrowth, 11-foot regrowth strip, no cutting chickens. That's what threw me.
I'm somewhat stumped here. Al, when you drew this, you made the dialogue box for the new mow line mitigating. You made it in a very light gray, so it doesn't stand out. So I didn't even see it until I put my advanced spectacles on.
I'm sorry. In my screen, it's black, but okay.
Okay, so I'm going to read this verbatim. 58.5 compliance. New mow line mitigating 10 foot for 2-to-1, criteria of border with permanent stone markers over 118 foot length by 10 feet wide. Okay, now where is that depicted on this plan set?
Okay, I'm looking at a plan. Are we looking on the same plan here? I'm looking at one that was revised. 2.7.
Okay, hold on.
Or 2.6, when after I had a conversation with Mark.
I'm looking at one dated 1/28/2021.
Okay, so there is a plan that gives an 11-foot strip that I did resend to Mark and Catherine, and it identifies a 11-foot regrowth strip.
Well, yeah,
and
this is the problem. No, just administratively, this is the problem when we get revised plans. They sometimes fall through the cracks. Kathy did a great job putting this Dropbox package together, but unfortunately, Al, we only have your old plan. Would you be kind enough to maybe send those to us individually right now? Is that possible?
Let's see, let me pull up. I'm working on it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you can send it to Bill and he can send it out because he has all our.
Yep, hold on. Going to send right now.
Yep, no worries. You know, that's the interesting question, Mark, with any of these redevelopments. It seems as though the easy way out for folks, you go directly to mitigation right off the bat.
But yeah, okay, yes, but you still owe an improvement that's over and above any restoration or mitigation requirement.
Okay. It's certainly more than putting up bluebird houses or something like that, which people
Oh,
try to.
absolutely.
Okay.
You know, are you is the riverfront area going to provide additional protection to the interests of the act after the work than it currently is?
Yeah, I think by Al putting in a no mow strip, and if it's truly no mowed, then clearly the critters are going to have a little more area to hang out in, and I think it's good for all the flora and fauna, certainly.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Okay.
That was just fired over to you.
Okay, thank you.
I was also wondering about maybe planting a couple trees within that 11-foot no-mow strip. Trees provide significant like filtration and bank stability and all kinds of good stuff.
I was thinking blueberry bushes, something
They
that
already have
provides.
some blueberry bushes on there.
Okay.
Hold on, we've got something on there now. We have some high bush blueberries now and birdhouses. And that is already on the plan, yes.
How about a good old fashioned willow?
And I just noticed you didn't get the latest refresh. Do you have that yet, Bill?
Not yet. I'm refreshing every 10 seconds. Not here yet, Al.
You know what? I'm gonna just send you the plan. Hold on. I think you have a whole package there.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, the comment regarding the willow, there used to be a lot of willow trees in town. There are not many anymore. I think part of the problem was they used to get into people's septic systems.
Yeah, they're very
Oh, yeah.
invasive.
Oh, yes. But boy, they absorb a lot of water.
They're pretty.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Al. I do have it, and I'm going to now forward this to everybody. So please stand by.
I just noticed the typo. I'm sending you a second one. It's a corrected revision date on it, okay?
Yeah, I think you spelled existing wrong too, but that's
Oh, that's
okay.
me. You know, I'm dyslexic always from Sunday, so.
I think we all do that one.
So you should be getting another just the plan email right now.
Okay.
With that corrected revision date.
Okay.
But it's the same plan otherwise.
Okay. It's off my desk.
But like I said, you've got planting, you've got the regrowth strip of 11 feet, you've got double siltation control, monuments, mitigation is, we already talked about. I talked about any storage or stockpile as upgrading as possible during the project.
Could I just ask, why are the plantings placed where they are and the
They
birdhouses?
could be moved. That's random.
Okay. It seemed kind of random, so I was wondering if there was a rationale to it.
It's an aesthetic thing. Obviously, that's subjective. But if you have a technical reason, by all means, fire away.
I was just looking at an opportunity to have plantings in that no-mow strip, because the no-mow strip is great. Things will eventually start to fill in, but if you can help get it started with a plant or two, it kind of.
I'm a fan of letting regrowth take its own path, but you certainly can. That is an option.
Yeah, the problem with letting regrowth do its own path, you end up with bittersweet. You end up with staghorn sumac, which is probably
In there,
okay.
yeah.
Right. You end up with honey locust, and you end up with Japanese knotweed. That's the problem.
Well, true that.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yep. Al, I see your
But
it's blueberry. What's your spacing on that, please?
That is. Come on now. It's a roughly 50-foot spacing.
What, one plant every 50 feet?
That is the way it's shown. There can be more. It really was not I'll be honest with you, it wasn't a huge focus from what I drew here, but certainly there can be more.
Yeah. So what's the total square footage for mitigation again?
The mitigation square footage is almost 1,300 square feet, 1,298.
Okay. Okay.
And it says no chickens because when I was there were some chickens in the yard.
Okay.
That's there was chickens brought up, and I want to be clear where that came from.
Well, they could be expensive because if you're using Mickey Marcus's wetland mix at $150 a pound.
There it goes.
There you go. Okay. Well, I think conceptually Al's done a good job here. What do you guys think?
Looks fine to me, but
Looks fine. Yep.
we have to open up to the general public for questions.
I'm the homeowner. I just have one quick question, if I may. And that is, so if it's drawn up as being a 20 by 28, which is 560 square feet, and of course that would be a non-permeable surface. The question is, if it would be acceptable to put a lean-to on the end of that would have a gravel bottom. It's not, it would still be a permeable area underneath, just for the possibility of adding some firewood under that, if you can see that on the screen there.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
That would be about 144 square feet.
And which side of the structure would that be on?
That would be on the
This
west
facing the
side.
road?
As you're looking at the diagram, it would be on the left.
Okay.
It's
Is
west
that
facing.
also where the door and main access point is going to be?
Negative. So right here is a picture of what this is going to look like. That's almost identical layout. And so this lean-to that I'm proposing here would be on the end, like the opposite gable end, the gable end that you can't see right there.
Okay. I see it. Okay. Okay.
So this was not drawn on the plan, but just that's the reason I'm asking right now.
Yep. Personally, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, hi, Ed Chaplin. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it either, but I think Al should add it to the plan just to solidify it.
Yeah. Good point, Ed. Al, could you sketch that in, please, on the plan?
So we're talking, I'm sorry, that was my 90-year-old mother placing a call there. So we're talking about an overhang on the west side, is that correct?
That's correct. We're talking about an overhang that would be 8 by 18, which is 144 square feet.
So the
Being
same width,
and with a non-concrete, like a gravel or dirt floor for the purpose of putting firewood underneath.
all right, so that's going out 8 feet, but the same width of the barn, correct?
It would be marginally less than the width of the barn.
All right, well, I'm sketching that in right now, and I can fire that over to you in a matter of a minute.
Okay.
A new date on the plan then, Alan.
Yes, thank you. And we're calling that an overhang, is that right?
I think that's a fair description.
8 by 16, you said?
I said 8 by 18. That'd be a
Okay.
maximum size.
Okay, I think this will be the first experience where I've done AutoCAD live in a meeting, so there you go.
So Amanda, I don't know if we want to open this up to the general public for any questions.
Yeah. Is anyone here from the public who would like to say anything or have any comments or questions? Just state your name and address. Anyone? Hearing that. Commissioners, any other thoughts?
Okay, I'm sending the email now.
Okay.
So what is the commission thinking? Did we need any more information? Did someone want a motion?
I think in concept it's fine. Has any commissioners been out there on a site visit?
This for Saturday.
You want to put this on the Saturday list, Wenda?
Is this a continuation?
I was just asking if we should, will Bill ask to do a site visit too?
Yeah, my thought is if we're doing the one, the 9 o'clock one on 107 Carver, after that, we can zip right over to this project. Now the question is with Glenn. Glenn, what's your construction schedule?
Yeah, so I'm figuring that probably about 12 weeks out.
Okay. So if we continue to next meeting, that's okay with you?
Well, the lead time to order and get this is at least 12 weeks. So if I don't want to order it until I have confidence that I can move ahead. So yeah, if you push this to next meeting, then it's going to be 12 weeks from that point.
Okay. Wenda, does it make sense to you to do a site visit Saturday then? It's only 5 days out. So what we could do is we could give this conditional approval subject to our site visit Saturday morning.
So
I don't know where in the regulations it says conditional approval.
Right, I don't think
No,
you can do that.
I know what you're saying, Mark.
So the plan has been sent to you, Bill, copied Kathy, and copied Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right now to everybody.
Don't forget, once you close a public hearing, you're prohibited from taking in additional information, even such as from a site visit.
That's right, okay. So I think if we're gonna do a site visit, we'll have to continue this till next month then.
Correct. You can't close out.
Right, okay, well, that makes sense.
Mark, is that allowed for RDAs?
Well, for an RDA, don't forget, the regulations state you're supposed to issue within 21 days of receipt of the application. Which doesn't actually happen that often.
Okay.
Amanda, this is an NOI.
No, I know. I'm just curious because we've done that before for RDAs.
Oh, okay.
Additional approval subject to the site visit, and then
Yeah.
whoever makes the
You know,
decision.
I don't recommend that because, you know, if you're not ready to close the meeting or close the hearing, you should continue it.
Good point. Just wanted to ask.
No, Mark's on solid ground there. We're sticking our neck out by doing that. Look, then I move that we continue this hearing until April.
Does the applicant consent?
April 13th, pending consent by Mr. Martin.
Disappointed, but consent.
Was that an affirmative?
Yeah, he consents. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor to continue till the 13th of April, say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Okay, Glenn, we'll see you out there sometime after 9 a.m. of Saturday morning, okay?
Okay, I'll plan to see you then.
Okay, thank you so much. Al, thank you. Thank you, well done.
Thank you. Take care.
You're
Good night.
Yeah, bye.
All right, moving
Okay.
on to our next meetings. Our next one is for number 5, filed by NOI number 165-0348, filed by William Chapdelaine for proposed construction of a single-family house and associated work within BVW buffer zone with regard to Lot 1, West Street, and known as Map 3D1 in the town of Granby. So who is here for that? I believe
think
Heather is
Heather's
here.
on. Yeah,
Right?
Heather's here.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm Heather Comey, wetland consultant. I filed 2 separate notice of intents for a single family home on each of the lots. The parent parcel is about 13 acres. It's within the buffer zone. There's no resource area alteration. There is an intermittent stream that bisects the property, and each of the homes are proposed on either side of the stream. I know there was some concern with some of the abutters regarding intermittent versus perennial, and it's shown as an intermittent stream on the USGS map, and it has a watershed area of 0.35 with the watershed drawn 200 feet down gradient of the property. If it's less than 5 square miles or 0.5 square miles of a watershed area, then it is intermittent. It's not within priority or estimated habitat or within floodplain.
okay. I think we've all had opportunity to review this site. Heather, have you run, or has your engineer run stream stats for you and issued a report as such?
Yeah, did I include that in the report? Oh, I don't think I did.
I'm
I
thinking
did
it
run
might,
That's,
I'm thinking it might be prudent to have a report issued by a registered engineer regarding the hydrology using stream stats or an equivalent system.
Well, I ran stream stats. I'm not an engineer, and I came up with relatively the same numbers as Heather. I thought it was in my notice of intent, Heather. Let me check.
no, it's not in the notice of intent.
Okay,
I read it as well, and I found similar results. Intermittent, not perennial.
now if anybody has any questions on that, I'll be glad to answer.
I don't know if you guys can see this. This was the stream stats.
Yeah, that's the watershed delineation. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And I guess, Mark, why don't you review the criterion of perennial versus intermittent pertaining to a project of this nature?
Okay, so the presumption, it's a map-based presumption whether a stream is considered intermittent or perennial. So you refer to the latest USGS quad, the map, which is anybody can track down online. And you see whether or not, I think Granby is a dark blue line for perennial. Is that right, Heather? And Bill? And
Yeah,
an intermittent stream is light blue.
Yeah, the latest USGS series was 2018. I actually looked at it about 2 hours ago, and it's a dashed line in that particular area.
Okay, actually, the 2018 you find on some sites is not the current one. It's still back in the 90s, but some people have it on their website, so it appears like it's a 2018 when it's not.
Yeah, well, actually,
Anyway.
I went to the USGS website. I didn't go to a rogue website. It was the USGS website.
Right, but the paper maps are still, they update electronic maps, but anyway, regardless,
Yeah, I looked
latest,
on the paper map was interesting because the lettering trailer park kind of covered up the stream, and it was very difficult to see whether or not it was a dashed line or a solid line.
okay, so anyway, Heather has a USGS submittal that shows it as a dash blue line. So whether it's light blue or dash blue, it's an intermittent stream. The only way to overcome that presumption, so even if the stream runs year round,
Okay.
doesn't matter what field conditions are, if it's showing as an intermittent stream, the presumption is map-based. To overcome that, you run a program called Stream Stats that can be found online. Anyone can use it. And it has to have a watershed of at least a half square mile and a predicted flow rate at what they call the 99th percentile, which is extremely low flow conditions of 0.01 cubic feet per second. It must have both criteria in order to be considered perennial. And when I ran stream stats and I talked to Bill and I talked to Heather, I think I talked to Heather about it, it did not have both criteria. So even if it runs year round, under the regulations, it's still an intermittent stream.
Okay, all right, let me stop you right there, Mark, because what we're saying then, being map-based, and I know some of the neighbors are online right now, some of the neighbors will assert that that stream has run all the time for the 30 or 40 years they've lived in that particular neighborhood. So the fact that it does truthfully run year round is actually usurped by the map-based criterion, correct?
Correct. I mean, and the problem was when they updated the regulations and they tried to figure out a way for people to document that it ran year round, even if it was classified as intermittent, they could not come up with criteria that would be satisfactory to the agency and to the general public, how to call it perennial. How do you document it over a multi-year period, 365 days a year? And they figured out, well, we can't come up with a way to do that. So they came up with this criteria: has to have the watershed, has to have the flow rate, regardless of whether it runs year round. And everyone knows, every town in Massachusetts probably has a stream, spring fed, small watershed, but it runs year round. But the latest quad still shows it as intermittent. And there's nothing you can do under the wetland regulations about that. The only time you could call it perennial is if you had a bylaw that would address it, because under the Wetlands Protection Act and regulations, you can't change it. It is what it is.
Yeah. One interesting point is that the reverse is actually something you can do. The 4-day criterion is, because that's a practical thing to do. You can go
from perennial to intermittent.
That's right. But like you say, to prove it this way, you'd have to go out every day, probably for 10 years, and take all kind of flow measurements. It would be an absurd operation.
So as much as commissions and people, ordinary people, even me, I'd love to be able to call a stream like this perennial, but the regulations do not allow it. It's because it does not have the watershed area, the flow rate. And again, any of you can run this stream stats program and come up with the same answers that we did.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, thank you for your input. Amanda, you might want to open it up to the neighbors, because I think several of them are online right now.
Yeah, first, before you do that, Bill,
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Ed.
Any other commissioners have any comments?
No.
Yeah, so I just want to make it clear, there's a letter in this folder by Butter. I think I reiterated this last time. I'm not related to this William Chaptling, so I'm not going to recuse myself because I am not related to this Mr. Chaptling. I was out there today, did observe what appeared to be a stream running pretty fast. The 0.5 square miles criterion is based on the stream stats. I think if you were to take a look at how that's generated, if a civil engineer was to take a USGS quad sheet and actually do the break lines for the watershed.
The old-fashioned way, Ed, the old-fashioned way. Yes.
Right. You may find that it's 0.5 square miles, because we're only talking 0.32 square miles. That's a computer generated number.
Yep.
I don't think a computer is that savvy to pick up that difference of between 0.32 and 0.58 square miles. But that's my opinion. I think if you had an engineer physically look at the contours and get the break lines and get the correct watershed and calculate it, it may be closer to half a square miles. So that's my opinion.
Yep. No, duly noted, Ed. Duly noted. You know, one particular point is that this intermittent stream, at least according to stream stats and USGS topo, extends to about 40 Porter Street, which is just across the street beyond the elementary school. So it is, again, it appears to be a tiny watershed, but you're right, Ed. Trying to differentiate between tiny watersheds is very, very tricky business. You're absolutely right.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're stuck with the regulatory language.
Yeah.
You know, there is no wiggle room under the regulations for this when there is a mapped center line, like the regulations reference.
Mark, if you could forward that to me, the section of the regulations that specifically call out stream stats as is a sole guiding factor for determining a perennial stream. That I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's right in the regulations.
I'm sure it's there, but again, with these small watersheds, I think it'd be prudent to have a civil engineer look at the watershed.
Yeah, yeah, actually, Mark, if, say the neighbors jointly hired an independent civil engineer to delineate the watershed, is that something that could refute this particular criterion, or would that be, that wouldn't be of any circumstance?
All I can tell you is what the regulations state, period. So the regulations state, if I may.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that,
look it up right now.
So when the USGS stream stats method cannot be used. So Ed, to your point, that what you were saying is let's see, can the actual engineering review can only be done when the stream stats method cannot be used.
Okay, so what's the criterion that it cannot be used?
All it says is when the USGS stream stats method cannot be used because the stream does not have a mapped and digitized center line.
Oh, okay, okay. And of course, over the years, just about every little trickle in the Commonwealth now has been digitized. I got you.
Well, no, because the stream stats program digitizes based on topography, on contours.
Right, that's right. Well, that's what Ed's arguing, that the computer algorithm used to generate the contours for delineating the watershed may not be quite as accurate as having a real live engineer do the delineation based on break lines where drops of water would go in one direction versus another. Now, I'm going to look
it's computer generated, and I'll give you that the algorithm may not be perfect, but unfortunately, it's what the regulations state, though.
Yeah, let me take a look. What it's 1058. Let me just take a peek here.
Oh,
1058.
Can I raise a question? So say the stream goes another half mile in the woods and that's not documented on the map.
Well, I cannot answer what would happen on appeal. My only, what I'm telling you here is trying to help you understand what the regulations state, not what you wish they would state.
Yeah, I'm reading it right here. It says 99% flow duration using the USGS StreamStat method, period. When the USGS StreamStat method cannot be used because the stream does not have a digitized center line. Exactly what you read, Mark. It's right here. Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's what it says. That's what it says.
The StreamStat line digitize the full length of the stream.
From what I'm reading of this, there's no way to get out of using the StreamStats method, period.
Unless the stream does not have a mapped and digitized center line.
Right.
I know, but if the center line is not accurate, what does that do? If the stream extends further,
Linda, we have to go with the regulatory language,
right?
not
But if
wishful
it's not
thinking.
digitized, the whole thing. Okay.
That's the inherent problem with some regulations. The regulations are the regulations. It may not exactly map to reality, but it's the regulations, and that's the way we're going to do it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, well, I'd have to disagree with that, but sometimes computers aren't always right.
Sorry, Bill, could you forward what I just sent you to Ed? I don't have his email address handy.
I can do that.
I just sent you that regulatory language.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm looking at it right now. on 310 CMR. Yeah, I'll send that to Ed right now. Thank you.
Okay, and if it's okay with everyone, I'm now gonna open it up to the public comment. All right, so if you could just say your name and your address, and then comment,
Yep.
sir.
This is Gabe Pula. May I go first, please?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes. Hi, Gabe. How are you?
Oh, hi,
Thank you.
everybody. Yeah, thanks for
We're
your time. I only need 2 minutes, and I'll be very cordial. So I live at 51 West Street. I live right next to both proposed lots 1 and 2. I'm actually the closest, although Ray Sawyer is very close on the other side. I've thoroughly looked over the NOIs with, and I do have some questions, comments, and I don't expect anyone to answer them right now on the spot. I just think the simplicity of the wetland consultant report just doesn't truly represent what the areas being developed are. And I just have to ask, what like precedents does the town have if they go forward to allow building within 100 feet of wetlands? My most concerns actually is with lot 2. I thought lot 1 had a semi decent layout because there's really no trees besides some overgrowth that's grown in the last 10 15 years since I've been watching it. But lot 2 is concerning. And also, Mark, there is another stream that you guys haven't discussed south of lot 2 that connects with the stream that you were discussing a lot, and they both connect into like a large swamp that like right behind the big red barn or Chapter Lanes. But anyhow, on the Oliver Mass GIS mapping tool, there's a vernal pool. It's about 75 feet, located right behind Ray Sawyer's house, near lot 2. Maybe 100 feet from lot 2. I just think we should look closer at that area because I believe there could be more pools downstream where the 2 streams meet. And that hasn't really been looked at. This could cause a massive recharge area for groundwater all the way to Five Corners, actually, where around Pizza Palace meets in Stony Brook, where I grew up. I've seen it flooded around there, and that's where all this goes. And the impact of the stream, the West Street wetlands that's connected to Stony Brook wasn't noted at all in the wetland consultant by the wetland consultant. I believe Granby's strict zoning bylaws were also not taken into account because historically Granby does not allow developments to be built within 100 feet of vernal pools, streams, which are both crucial to the upland habitat. In 1987, most vernal pools have been protected. And the appeal to Granby right now is its country wildlife. Building lot 2 alone would wipe out, and this is the biggest one for me, would wipe out over 100 trees. I counted them myself. And these trees are not born yesterday. They're 80 feet tall. I've got measurements. All of them are around 70 to 80 feet tall. Wiping out over 100 trees in this area is a cause for concern because it's going to change the outlook of this central area. And actually, it is these 2 lots are the central location between the old center of town where the rock is at Amber Street Blinking Light and the new town common, which we have now as the town common. So these lots are geographically the dead center of town, and homeowners want to stay for this country layout we have. And if we clear those trees between State Street and West Street, we'll be able to see through, for the first time ever, West Street to 202, which is just, I think, it'll hurt property value. Over time, if we allow more projects like this, Granby would start to look kind of mapped out like Chicopee, where you could see an open floor plan. I'm almost finished. Lot 2 is almost completely encompassed by some forms of wetlands with a huge high water table. Lot 2's access way that's been planned for a driveway is planned to be a very slim 15 by 100 foot long access way above the stream next to me and right next to blue flag markers. The blue flag markers are just 20 feet from that stream, which separate both lots. Like Heather said, the stream is cut through bilaterally through the 2 lots. There's thousands of living species in these woods, such as bobcat, deer, fox, salamanders, wood frogs, turtles in the stream, which they do all walk onto my driveway because I'm right next to it, on my deck actually daily during the summer months. Despite the satellite and hydrology reports, I have video picture proofs of the stream flowing in late August. And I know Mark touched on this, but I still just think that map-based does not hold a candle to real life of what's happening, because I have the video of it flowing on August 29th on my phone. And south of Lot 2, again, is a stream that was never looked at. 100 feet back from Lot 2 is that other stream, and this stream flows twice as fast as the one next to me that a lot of people are talking about. They connect behind Chateau Harmony and flow downstream again to Stony Brook. I've spoken to 5 of the affected abutters, and on our deeds, we're required to place no work areas within 200 feet from wet flagging. If this has been changed for some reason, then it also needs to be removed from all of our abutters' deeds. Once that happens, I surely will be building my own lot on my lot, which in some areas of my lot is only 20 feet from the stream. So just to think about the impact of the future, what this would, tell people. Since the old conservation limitations are basically drastically, changed for these 2 homes closer to the wetlands than even mine was. Lot 1, I just want to say that's proposed is 120 feet from the West Street Road all the way to the first wetland marker. So I think it's difficult to squash a leach field and a giant, or a home within that 120 feet before it hits the wetland flag. And I just really feel in my heart these 2 lots go against everything that conservation means. I've got photos of all the wildlife and video, bear, everything, you name it, I got it. Owls that live out there, hawk babies, and lastly, I just think there's more here than what the wetland consultant report shows. And thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, Gabe, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the neighborhood?
Yes, Victor Moreno, 53 West Street.
Yes, sir.
I agree with Gabe. There's no question we've walked and looked at all the property out there. My concern is the vernal pool area. Seeing that, I'm not positive what Mr. Crane is going to do for a house out there besides clearing trees and whatever. But if he decides to do something out there, an average home of 1,400 feet, a 4,000 square foot septic system, and now including slope and everything else, you're going to raise the elevations out there at least 10,000 square feet of area out there. With the slope percentage towards the vernal pool and towards the stream is only 3%. It says 3.8. I look at it, it looks flat as a pancake, but 3% isn't very much. When you start figuring out the amount of water that's going to be shedded off this construction site, it's definitely going to filter back towards the vernal pool area and to the stream and increase the flood hazard area. It seems to me that Gabe's has perceived the problem out here correctly. It is a sensitive area. There's plenty of wildlife out there. And I think the board should consider these facts besides going to antiquated regulations that don't really justify disturbing this area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moreno. Anyone else from the neighborhood?
Yes, Leah Condon, 37 West Street.
Yes, Ms. Condon. Yes, go ahead, please.
The wetland is right in my backyard. And if there's any trees that are going to be cut, et cetera, where is that water going to go? In my yard?
Okay, so your concern is a stormwater management type runoff issue. Yeah, you don't want to get flooded out from tree cutting. Okay.
Well, it is wet. It is wet back there. It is swampy.
Yeah, I'm looking
and
at
by moving all the by doing all of this moving of the earth, it's going to change the amount of water back there. The water's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Review?
That's a good question, Amanda. I think single-family dwellings are exempt, but I'm not sure. But that's a good question for Heather. Heather, do you know how many square feet of trees will be removed?
I don't have that figure, but I could get it.
Okay, if you'd be so kind. And have you depicted any vernal pools on the property?
There is a pool within the T-Series wetland, and it is at the closest point to Lot 2. It is about 20 feet. 20 feet east of T118.
Okay, I see the V set of flags. I don't see the T set. Oh, I see the T set. Okay, they're down to the southeast. I got you. Okay.
Bill, Amanda, this is.
Go ahead, Ed.
We're talking about lot 2 now, but we should be on lot 1. I know these are kind of connected to each other, and we're gonna probably do a lot of things, restating for this next one. But we're talking about lot 2 now, which is fine, but we still have to open up that meeting.
Yeah, well, I thought we were talking about 0348, permit 0348. Are we talking about 0348 or 0347?
Lot 1, as far as I know, it's the most.
48, not 49. 48 is one. But when Heather started, she did introduce both of them at the same time, since they are part of a original
Okay.
larger
But
parcel.
Ed had a good point. Again, I called up 0348. I've been looking at the NOI for 0348.
0348 is Lot 2.
Okay.
Right now, we're on. They got it.
Not on my paper.
I think they may be misnumbered by someone.
Correct, Bill. They are misnumbered on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
And I'm guessing, Ms. Condon, are your comments pertaining to the lot 2, which is the most easterly lot, or the lot 1, which is the westerly lot?
The lot closest to the West Street School.
Okay, so that's lot 2. So we are talking about lot 2 then right now. Okay.
But Bill, we opened up lot 1.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
Since we had a little discrepancy in nomenclature, is this hearing for lot 1 or lot 2?
Lot 1.
It is lot 1. Okay. So we're gonna have to hold comments on lot 2. So that will be Ms. Condon's comments regarding the property to the east. Okay.
But however, whatever Victor was referring to, it still would affect my backyard.
Oh no, I agree. Like you say, these are kind of connected in the grand scheme of things. Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Condon. Any other comments?
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea.
Okay. Duly noted. Any others?
Ray Sawyer, 39 West Street, Granby.
Yes, Ray, if you'd be kind enough to limit your discussion to lot 1, which is the westerly lot.
Well, then I will wait till lot 1's over.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other commentary pertaining to lot 1?
Yeah, I have one thing. When Gabe was talking, he said he mentioned his deed, book of plans. So I actually went to the registry website, and his plan does show, that plan from 1999 does show permanent concrete markers with a 100-foot and a 200-foot riparian. However, there was also a notice of intent submitted for 51 West Street in 2003 that called 51 West Street, the single-family house construction, just a buffer zone project. And that was file number 165-0218. So just interesting.
Yeah. So 53 West Street, who's the homeowner?
51 West Street,
51.
which is Gabe's house, I think, for
That's correct.
file number 218, 165-0218. So the original plan for those lots called out 100-foot and 200-foot, but the notice of intent actually submitted in 2003 was submitted as a buffer zone only project.
Huh. So originally they were using full riverfront criterion, and they relaxed that to go full buffer. That's interesting indeed.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the plan, I'll tell you if you want to look it up. Plan book 185, page 70.
Ed, could you write that down, please?
So you can look it up yourself.
Yeah, Mark, I'm not here to argue about the riverfront area. I'm just making an observation of what I see in the field.
No, I totally understand that. Totally understand. Yep.
And just to make a point, if the previous application in 2003 was incorrect, it doesn't mean
No,
you keep perpetuating it.
we're not going back. It doesn't matter. Anything from back then is old and expired.
I understand, yeah, and it's just the way it looks to me. If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, but you're going by the regs, I can understand that, I can appreciate that.
Okay, let me further explain one thing. It says the stream, okay, going back to the definition, if the stream has a watershed area of at least a half square mile, has a predicted flow rate greater than the 0.01, the issuing authority shall find such streams to be perennial. Shall. So shall is a strong word. So it does not have that watershed area, the flow rate. I mean, notwithstanding that, people still have a right to appeal.
So here's the interesting way this might play out. Emily's on board here tonight for a couple other things. We could bring Emily in as an independent peer reviewer, get her input, act accordingly. Then the neighbors, how many signatures do they need for an appeal, Mark? 10?
Well, one direct abutter or 10 citizens group.
Okay, so they could appeal to the administrative law judge at DEP.
No. It would come to the program. It would come to the wetlands program. It's only when it doesn't go further unless our superseding order is appealed.
Okay, that's right. So assuming the superseding order does not overturn an approval, then the next step would be the ALJ, correct?
Yeah, usually.
Okay. So Gabe and the others, this is the way this would play out. We would, I'm thinking we'd bring Emily in as an independent third-party professional peer reviewer, get her opinion. Then we would issue based on her findings. Then you would have the opportunity to appeal to DEP Springfield, the local group. If you didn't like their decision, you could appeal to the ALJ, which would be the administrative law judge, which handles these cases. And if you didn't like their decision, then it gets pricey, because then I think you'd go to the state court system. Is that the way that would work?
I plan to do that. Thank you.
Okay. anyway, I'm just stating what the options are gonna be. Not that I'm advocating anything, but these are the way this thing tends to work out. So, again, any other butters want to make any comments?
With respect to lot one.
Yeah, with respect to lot one. Okay, I guess I hear none. So
I'd
I'm
like
gonna
to
throw
say-
this out. Do you think it might be prudent for us as a commission to retain Emily to do a peer review on our behalf?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking the commissioners.
I think so, yeah.
Dave agrees. Wenda?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, Ed?
I'd be in agreement with that. Just to, I don't see any issues with the wetland boundaries. I was out there today, looked at them, they look okay. My biggest concern is the stream stats being used, but that's what Mark is saying.
Okay.
I think we should investigate as best we can. And I
Okay,
would agree,
and-
peer review would be prudent.
Okay, and Amanda and Kevin, do you guys think we should go that route?
Yes.
Okay,
I think it would be a good idea. I'm also curious to know more about the history of this area because it is interesting about those stone downs and past permitting things. And I'm wondering if originally this area might have been subdivided with a drainage easement surrounding a certain area of the river, like, or the wet area. Oftentimes those things get lost and certain people were subject to them and not others. I don't know how much legally that will impact or if it might be expired at this point, but it might be interesting and helpful.
okay, thank you.
What are your
Okay, so if
thoughts?
Emily has time to get involved with this, it'd be great to have her do this review for us.
I also have a question.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
also thinking of the situation with Dollar General where that got put in and flooded out the neighbors. And I don't know how we mitigate that or look at that situation.
Well, that was a stormwater management snafu, but we don't want to go there at this point.
And we also
Okay,
had that
so-
place over on the other
Yeah.
street, Martin, where you had a pond where they built a
Right,
house.
that's right, that's right. Okay, okay, notwithstanding, Heather, are you okay to continue this till next month?
Yes, but I have a question. What would the peer review be for?
It would be on the wetlands and I would say have her also do an administrative review as well. It would not be stormwater, it'd be wetlands, wetlands technical and wetlands administrative.
So on the wetland boundary and administrative? So
Yes,
regarding administrative regarding the intermittent versus perennial?
That amongst other things. Emily's on board. Emily, would you be available to help us here?
Hi, Bill. This is Emily speaking. Am I coming through?
Oh, yes, you're loud and clear.
Yes, I am available. Procedurally, the next step would be for the commission to get me copies of the notice of intent application. So I can give that a cursory review in order to prepare a proposal for submittal to the commission. And-
Okay, so,
And it's sounding to me like this is sort of what I would call a standard notice of intent review where there would be a field review component, but also administrative and looking at compliance with the applicable regulations.
okay, thank you. So what I will do is I will forward everything Heather has submitted to us. And you can put your budget together and we'll do the usual 4453G submittal to the town treasurer and go from there. And I suspect we'll probably be doing the same thing on lot 2. So I move then that we continue this project until April 13th at the same time.
Seconds.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, next project, I guess, Amanda, what's next?
We gotta open the lot 2 West Street, and take any additional comments that were specific to that one that hadn't been voiced yet. And I believe that one is 1650349.
Okay.
So lot 2 on West Street. I believe there was at least one person who had a comment in the public.
Yeah, I have no further comment, but I believe there is somebody in the neighborhood on West Street that
Ray
would like to
Sawyer.
respond.
39 West Street.
Yes, sir.
But the lot 2. My only concern is that there's bank erosion on my side of the brook or the stream. It has been eroding away for the 30 years I've been here. And constant flow of water from the embankment out into the stream. It's eroding the bank. And my concern is if an access road is put in, would it interrupt the flow of that water? Would water be backing up into my cellar?
Okay, duly noted.
Answer.
Any comments by any commissioners?
Just to reiterate, that water's got to go somewhere.
Duly noted, Ms. Condon. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make a note that Ms. Condon's comments from lot 1 should be noted onto lot 2. But same course as last lot 1, same comments I have.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to recommend we retain Emily to review this as well. So I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel here.
Oh, at least they're looking, you can't. At least they're.
Any other comments by any commissioners?
Just a note, administratively, the DEP number for lot 1 is 165-0347. DEP number for lot 2 is 165-0348. And in our agenda, it's backwards on lot 1 and lot 2 is wrong. So that'll be corrected for the next agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Ed, for that note. Thank you for picking up on that. Okay, Heather, are you okay continuing this one as well till the 13th?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I move we continue. Yeah, I can continue lot 1 till the 13th. And again, we'll contact Emily for peer review services. So I move we continue till the 13th.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, that passes. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Heather. Thank you, everybody, for taking time to opine.
Okay, so the next hearing on the agenda, this is NOI number 165-0344, filed by applicant N-Star Electric, DBA Eversource, owner Eversource ROW, for proposed replacement of 47 structures along the 1113 line right-of-way, traversing area north to southwest from Bay Road Amherst to East Street South Hadley. 17 of the proposed structures have proposed permanent or temporary impacts to wetlands, buffer zones, and or riverfront areas located in the town of Granby.
Okay, is anyone from GZA here? Oh, Dan, you're here. Why don't you lead off? We got plenty to discuss.
Certainly. Good evening, Dan Nitschke with GZA, representing Eversource. There's other representatives from Eversource this evening. The two primary people will be Simon Hilt and Jonathan Roberge. There are a couple other folks too from Eversource if we need additional information from those folks. Since the last meeting we had, we discussed some of Emily's comments. We sort of went over them. I don't think we went over them in a lot of detail, but we did go over those. If you'd like to go over those again, I could bring that up and we could do that. The other item that's happened since our last meeting is you folks, as well as ourselves, received an NOI audit letter from DEP. We've since generated a response to that. We've sent that to you folks. I believe Eversource sent that to you last week. So you should have that in your possession as well. I don't know if that was forwarded to Emily. And I guess I want to clarify, Emily, were you authorized to finish up and do sort of response to our responses, or?
Hi, if I may, through the commission, yes, Dan, I was able to perform a review of your responses, and I also was in receipt of the DEP audit letter, and I've had an opportunity to look at that and your response to the audit letter.
Okay, thank you. Would the commission like to go over that DEP response letter? We certainly could bring that up and we could talk about the project a little bit. We're also, what we're doing for some of the other commissions is we're consolidating the massive amount of numbers that are in the notice of intent and trying to get that down to a more concise grouping, so that, because what we've been running into on some of the other commissions is getting some of the orders of conditions don't have every box filled out appropriately. So we're trying to avoid that issue. That's part of this audit letter with DEP, is to try to make sure that we get all of our ducks in a row and aligned properly on the Form 5 document.
Let me just make a couple of upfront comments. First of all, it's 9:15. This is a very complicated project. I took about an hour of my time at work today to review most of the correspondence. Emily is essentially working as our agent on behalf of the project. I would love to go over Dave Fowlis's letter and some of the theory that he's proposing to rectify some of these outstanding issues concerning the 16,000 square foot of BVW loss. But I think, again, given the fact that it's 9:15, I would probably rather just turn it over to any commissioner who'd like to say a word, or send it to Emily just for a very brief introductory comment. But again, I think at this point in time, we'd like to let the DEP audit process run its course, Dan, and I hope you can appreciate that.
Well, I do appreciate that, but I'm wondering if one of the critical components of that DEP audit letter is mitigation. And
right. And it's actually up to you guys to come up with a mitigation plan for us, which seems to be kind of backwards to me. But we don't want to spend a lot of energy coming up with projects for you.
And we don't need you to. Thank you for kind of that offer, I guess. But we don't need that. We've been doing our own due diligence. Eversource and our company have been digging into lots of different nonprofit agencies and DPWs and things of that nature to try to come up with a reasonable and appropriate mitigation. Eversource is ready to sort of just discuss the general concepts with you if you're open to that, just so you get a sort of a little primer on that. And then when we can get more meat on the bones, we are getting some documentation pulled together so we can give you a little meat on the bones, so that on the next meeting or before the next meeting, we'll give you that information so we have substantive discussions at that time.
Okay.
So
and I know
if you're
again,
open to that, I'd like to turn that over to Simon so he can talk about that.
Let me turn to Emily first for some commentary, because Emily and I have been discussing this fairly diligently over the past month. Go ahead, Em.
Yeah, so as it's already been articulated, that the requirement to have a mitigation plan before the commission for review during the public hearing process is a key part of this filing. So I think it's excellent that there are team members on the applicant side present tonight to discuss that. Just briefly, Bill, because you asked me to, in regards to my follow-up review of the responses from GZA, for the most part, most of the concerns that were raised through the materials review or the site visit have been addressed. There are a couple of items that are still outstanding, and I think it would be beneficial to have a conversation about those this evening. It may be as simple as just needing to talk it through with Dan or his colleagues to clarify some items. I appreciate it's late this evening, but if we had an opportunity to delve into mitigation and then circle back to just a few questions that I have, primarily in regards to moving forward with special conditions, and also some clarification on the permitting pathway and some of the exemptions that have been stated. I think those would be some great items to delve into tonight if possible. So would you like me to start with my comments from the review?
Yeah, why don't we,
or would
why don't
like Dan to
you, why don't you go for 5 minutes, Emily, and we'll let Dan go for 5 minutes. Again, we really have to move this meeting along. So I'm sorry that we kind of dragged our feet on our other stuff. So go fire away.
Okay, I'm putting down my screen so that I can pull up my response letter that's dated March 4th. I'm not going to delve into the special conditions too much right now because it sounds like we're going to be meeting again and we'll have the opportunity to add to those. I did have a question for GZA and Eversource in regards to some changes in the revised plans for the select tree removal. I noted that on site map page 6 and 18, we have some call outs, but we no longer have the polygon indicating the area of removal. And in regards to the area of removal, if Dan or one of his colleagues could speak to the process there, the response from GZA clarified that the removal was not going to be just individual trees, but it's sounding like this is going to be trees and saplings and shrubs. And I'm just looking for clarification. Is this going to be a clear cut removal of all woody vegetation that is subsequently mowed as maintenance?
Good question. The specific activity is designed to keep trees away from the conductor. So anything smaller than the height that would be considered to come in contact with the conductor won't be touched. So the management is only individual trees. What we found, Emily, is we had, like you and I found, some trees were marked, some trees weren't. We had some that had actual GPS points, some that we did not. So it made more sense to just call those polygons, and because we calculated for the whole square footage. It will not be a clear cut. It will be individual trees for the most part in small, discrete, sort of linear locations along the right of way, just on the edge, because of the conductor moving over a little bit. We don't need to take out large areas. We just need to take out a few individuals. So the intent is to not clear cut, but is selective for tree species that right now have been identified to impact that potentially could impact the conductor. 5 years from now, they may do another evaluation and a few more trees may need to come down. But for this particular NOI, it's limited to just those trees that have been identified as actually touching the conductor, the proposed conductor.
If I may, through the commission, thank you, Dan, for that clarification. That wasn't 100% clear to at least me in the response letter. So my recommendation to the commission would just to have that be reiterated as a special condition for clarifying purposes, that as Dan just articulated, this is just for tree removal. It's not a clear cut that you're approving for those areas.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. And in that vein, Dan, are you refiling as a limited project?
We're requesting, we don't refile the document. We're just asking that you look at our project on limited.
Okay, and that's discretionary on behalf of the commission. So the commission has to decide whether or not to allow Eversource to file this project as a limited project, given the fact that it's highly unlikely they would be able to meet the performance standards for alteration and work in BVW areas, okay? My personal opinion is this is a transmission line project. Again, if you look at the bigger picture in terms of energy, nationwide distribution of energy. This is an important project for this part of the country. And certainly by denying this project would absolutely be absurd, because they could supersede us through federal regulatory authorities. But the bottom line is, they really can't meet the performance standard for work in BBW. We have the option of allowing a limited project status for this work, which would enable them to perform the work without a rigorous replication effort. However, there would be some mitigation, and that's what we will be discussing going forward.
Right. As you can imagine, we don't really have the option, especially within the right of way, to construct wetlands.
That's right.
We certainly are, and Simon will talk about the mitigation ideas that we're running by each other to sort of bring to your attention. So we can address the roughly 16,380 square feet of BBW that we're saying is not being compensated for at this point. We're going to work towards mitigation to do that. So thank you, Bill. I appreciate that.
Okay.
With comment about the energy.
No. At some point, Dan, we'll probably get you hooked up with our DPW director, Mr. DeRocher. Now, the question is, and I've talked to Dave Fowlis and Mark about this a little bit, you'll be providing, I suspect, some sort of design services for the mitigation. You'll provide funding for the mitigation, but the $1 million question, and hopefully it's not literally, is who's going to physically perform the mitigation? That's the question.
Right. Yeah, we actually, Simon has reached out to Mr. DeRozier, and we have discussed some of at least one option that he provided to us. So we reached out to several folks within your, yeah.
I'm glad.
Including the Kestrel Land Trust and whatnot, like I said, nonprofit entities as well as community agencies. So thank you. Was there anything else?
This is Simon here, just doing a microphone check first, if you can hear me.
Yep.
Yes, Simon.
Okay.
Go ahead. You're loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good evening. Definitely, Bill, thank you for your appreciation of the importance of the project. This is, a line or a set of lines that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 years old. So it's a rebuild of the line to maintain, existing facilities and upgrade to modern needs. So we have reached out to DPW. I did speak with Dave. He gave one idea as far as a stream crossing improvement that he had in mind, that he had seen some flooding with. Subsequent to that, I did take a visit through town and identified a number of culverts that seemed to be undersized and poor stream crossing conditions, and relayed that information to Ty and Bond, which is a firm that we've used a number of times to evaluate potential stream crossing improvements for mitigation. So Ty and Bond has since gone out and taken a look at the 3 areas that I had submitted to them. We're still looking to see what is viable as far as what we could actually pull off realistically as far as the road conditions would allow there. But 2 of the 3 locations that we're considering right now are on cold water fisheries streams along Bachelor Street. The one that is my particular favorite is the crossing that we're looking at on Bachelor Street is the only obstruction between Aldrich Lake and the top of the Holyoke Range there. So it's the only culvert along the stream. If we were to be successful in selecting that or a similar culvert, the idea would be that we would be providing a crossing that met or came close to meeting the mass stream crossing standards. So what that would mean is much improved connectivity between upstream and downstream resources. That means things like aquatic passage for aquatic species, fish, amphibians, and even terrestrial species, perhaps, if the culvert turns out to be large enough. And that connects, upstream sources of food and export downstream. So it could really be a beneficial project that way.
Good.
We've done similar ones to mitigate for BVW impacts before.
Good. Well, Scott Jackson would surely be happy to hear that. Again, the $1 million question I'm going to ask, Simon, is we'll do all the engineering, or you folks will do all the engineering, do all the permitting. Who hires the contractor to physically get the work done?
So in previous instances, and the way that I anticipate that this would go is that, yes, you're correct. Eversource would contract with a design firm, potentially Ty and Bond in this case. They would pull together all of the design drawings and engineering specs, bid documents and whatnot. And then typically we have either gone we typically, as Eversource, need to work with contractors that we have a contract with already. So we have a select few civil contractors that we work with. Not necessarily all of them are versed in this type of civil work. So then we would tend to reach back out to the DPW to find out who are some of their preferred contractors, and we would have those, whichever contractor was preferred, subcontract under one of our civil vendors that has a master services agreement with Eversource. So if we were to move forward with something like this, you are correct that Eversource would fund the design and the construction, including construction oversight by an engineer of the project.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. Say we, in good faith, get all the design work done, get all the permitting done, discuss and get quotations from contractors, and for one reason or another, the job never gets finished. What are the implications there?
The way that we would do this, and I'll be upfront with Bill and the rest of the commissioners there, this project is on a track that where we really need to keep the ball rolling, essentially. The way that this work needs to happen, I'm talking about the transmission line just briefly here. This is an active, two active transmission lines that serve 115 kilovolts each between Montague and Chicopee. The way that this is done is going to take a number of phased scheduled outages, basically, where they take one side of it out of service, replace that, and then flip it to the other side. So we basically are always keeping the juice flowing. What I'm getting at, bottom line, is it's a very, very intricate and complex schedule that is critically important for us to keep. So what we have done in other projects where we need to keep moving, and there is a complex mitigation component to it, is that we would what I'm hoping is that we could come to you by the next meeting, because we expect that we'll continue this hearing tonight, come to you with concrete enough details of what we'd be proposing for a stream crossing improvement project, if that's what we ultimately decide on. And we actually can provide to you, if you accept it, special condition language that we have used with other commissions, other orders of conditions that specify a specific date by which the commission, the DPW, and DEP will receive engineered drawings to review and comment on, and have the opportunity to comment and revise as needed. And also in the special condition, it would include a specific date by which that project shall be completed by. And just like any other condition in the order of conditions, that gives you the teeth to, if need be, and it won't, I can guarantee you, issue a violation and bring DEP down on us. And we, as Eversource, strive to avoid that, and we'll do everything that.
Yeah, I think you guys have had experience with ACOPs and you don't want any more. No, that's fine. Okay, listen. If you just let me hand it off to some of the other commissioners that might have some questions for you folks. So, Wenda, any questions for Simon or Dan?
My big mitigation thought was was Dufresne's Pond. The town needs help with that. So that was my instant thought.
What does the town need help with? What is it specifically?
Dufresne's Pond needs to be dredged.
Yeah, see, I don't know if a dredging project would be consistent with this sort of mitigation, Dan, would it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it could be part of a mitigation package, but it's not straight up either making a new wetland or improving the functional values of a system. One could argue that dredging does actually improve functional values, but we might get credit, but we probably wouldn't get full credit for that type of activity.
Okay.
And we're
getting huge siltation in and filling in because we have huge erosion problems into the pond.
Okay.
Understood.
Thanks. Frank's Pond, you said?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
don't think it's high quality area.
Okay.
So Eversource would be very, very happy to work with the commission to identify a project that would benefit something that you have interested in. Again, as you understand here, and as DEP stated in the audit letter, whatever mitigation we decide upon, together come to an agreement upon, it needs to benefit the resource area that we're impacting, namely bordering vegetated wetlands here.
I gotcha.
A project like the dredge project could work. We need to take a closer look, but ultimately needs to benefit that specific resource.
I gotcha. Duly noted. Okay. Ed, any commentary?
None at this time, thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Amanda, anything else? No,
I was a little curious if for a stream crossing, part of the consultation process that you guys might do would include looking at the grant options and trying to see if that would be a feasible opportunity for us to go for with the DCR stream crossing upgrades.
I think Eversource is footing the bill out of their own stockholders' pockets.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out of a necessity to move things along as quickly as possible, that's the route we take.
Yeah, this is a this is probably $1 billion project by the
We're
time.
self-funding, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Dave, any commentary? No?
Nothing at this time, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay, Dan. So, Emily, anything else on your end?
Just a couple of quick follow-ups, and I do promise I'll be quick. I'm hearing a lot about the square footage of the impact of BW and the need to mitigate. Is this plan also going to take into account the other resource areas that are going to be impacted? So I think if we put together riverfront, bordering land subject to flooding, and BBW, the square footage that was presented was 39,925. I think that's an important piece to discuss.
Good point, Emily.
Except that there's no reason to provide mitigation for BLSF. We're within the performance standards of BLSF and mitigation is not required.
So that's the clarifying response that I'm looking for, because in the response to the audit letter, I didn't pick up on that, Dan. It looked like there was a table that was addressing all three of those resource areas. So maybe just a response from the applicant on riverfront, BLSF, and BBW, what permitting pathway you're taking, whether it's full compliance or if you're getting limited status for something, and then what the square footage is on the mitigation.
Okay.
Actually, I think that's the reason they're going to go for limited project, because they could essentially, we could waive their compensation for the riverfront and the BLSF.
I think what Dan was saying was that, sorry, Bill, but I thought what Dan was saying was that they comply fully with BLSF. So just break those three out. Again, looking forward towards the permitting process and the OOC, we want to make sure that we're clear as to what the mitigation is relating to.
Okay.
And if we were to move forward with a stream, sorry, if we were to move forward with a stream crossing project similar to what I discussed, that would benefit not only BVW but riverfront area as well, being that it's a perennial cold water fishery that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll take a moment now just to state for the commission that, upgrading these poorly designed existing culverts is, in my opinion, an excellent avenue for mitigation. So I would be interested to see that process moving forward, or any other areas that the applicant comes up with. But I'm certainly in favor of Eversource delving into that, especially with a cold water fishery.
Yeah, if you look at paragraph 5, it's 3,750 square feet of trees in the BLSF, and Dave Fallis opines as to the function and so on and so forth. But you're right, whether or not that's regulatory, that's a strict regulatory requirement or not, it's not apparent from his writing.
Right, but we're under 10% or 5,000 square feet of the BLSF. We're below we're below the performance standard, so we do not have that particular resource area.
I got you.
But I mean, if we do a stream culvert, then you're going to get BLSF's going to get, we're going to get benefited as well.
Yeah, I got you.
Just obviously, from our perspective, we want to make sure we give you what we need to, but we can't have every category. If we meet standards, we aren't obligated to provide mitigation for some. So, but we have issue with providing mitigation for these impacts. I mean, we fully believe and understand we're obligated. So.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill, moving forward and keeping an eye to the hour this evening, my March 4th comment letter, has Dan received that? Has Eversource received that comment letter?
You sent something March 4th?
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
No, we've not.
So moving forward through this review process, a number of the items, as I said, GZA addressed the majority of the comments in my initial letter. There were really just some follow-up comments, mostly ones that I feel just need some clarifying. Is that something that Dan and I could work on, Bill, in advance of the next meeting, so we have that prepared, or is that something that the commission wants to discuss tonight, or?
Yeah, I'm looking, okay, let me just hold on one moment here. Okay, so this is the letter sent Friday, March 5th. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, I know why I didn't read that, because my PDF reader did not read that. I'd have to use a different computer to read that file. Okay, so shame on me. That's okay. No, certainly, I think it'd be prudent for you and Dan to interface to try to iron out some of those little details. That would be fine.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, because as Simon mentioned, the next meeting for us, to be quite frank, is critical. It's a critical for us. So.
Yeah, and I'm going to send you Emily's note, or Emily, you can send it to Dan directly right now if you wish and sign.
Great, thank you.
Thank you,
Bill.
Bill.
And I'll circulate it amongst the team. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. Well, I think we're off and running, but again, the fact that you guys are picking up the ball and working on a substantial and important mitigation plan for the town, I think that's to be commended. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
So we really appreciate it. And as Dan mentioned there, if at all possible, we want to do everything that we can to do appropriate right by the mitigation, by the regulations here. So we are hoping that we can close this hearing with an order of conditions in hand next meeting. Understanding this is.
Yeah,
understanding this is.
No, excuse me. Go ahead, Simon.
I was saying, recognizing that this is a very, very complex project. We want to do the right thing here. We definitely want to work directly with Emily, and we appreciate your allowing us to do that so that we can get you the information that we need to move forward with this. So thank you. And also just want to say, Emily, not sure where you're at with funds to take care of your hours towards the review that we need, but just want to keep everything moving along as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Yep. One thing in the political realm, I know one of our neighbors, or one of your neighbors on West State Street, Route 202, had a concern about proximity to his dwelling, a guy named Ronald Smeagol. Have you talked to him to try to smooth things out with respect to the proposed pad site and size?
I believe our outreach group has spoken with this person. I believe I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think they might have also had concerns about some tree removal proximal to the work pad there. All I can say is our outreach group has spoken with them. I'm not sure that I can't say that they have definitely made them happy with what we're proposing here, but I can say on behalf of Eversource that we certainly try to mitigate or minimize our impacts to the extent practicable here. Again, we're working with live line high voltage, so the size and configuration of a work pad is really critical to protect the dozens of people working on the ground to actually do this work.
Of course. Okay, very good. Okay, Simon, thank you. Dan, Emily, I move that we continue this till the 13th of April.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you also,
everybody,
Emily.
for
You
staying
will
up so late.
communicate. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Emily, we'll be in contact on those other projects too. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Amanda, I hope we don't have too many more of these.
No,
tonight.
it looks like our next one is 1650340, filed by Nathan Booten for proposed driveway culvert with regards to property located on Center Street and known as map 8A10 in the town of Granby. We received a email with a request to continue earlier this evening. Just to clarify, no one is on the line for that project, correct? Okay. So yes.
Amanda, this is Emily, and before I leave for the evening, could I just chime in?
Of course.
Thank you. since the last public hearing, I received a phone call from a gentleman who presented to be himself just a friend of the applicant, and he was inquiring about, I guess, process and questions, to which I was only comfortable responding to what was of the public record. And I advised him to pass along to the applicant that if he had questions about where the notice of intent process stood, that he should attend the hearing this evening and voice those questions and concerns to the commission. So I just wanted to report that back to you as the governing body, that I did have that conversation with a friend of Mr. Bodine who called me on his behalf.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. That's an important point. You know, folks shouldn't be reaching out to our independent peer reviewer asking questions, particularly asking questions that haven't been covered in public meetings. So that's totally inappropriate on their behalf. Emily, thank you again for your great service. Thank you so much.
All right. Does the commission need me for anything else this evening that's on the agenda? I know it's getting late.
Yeah,
I think everything else is kind of continuations, and now it's just finishing up
okay.
administrative.
No, I think we're good. Emily, thank you. Okay, I'll talk to you on the telephone in the next few days. Thanks, Em. Thank
All
you.
right, take care.
Okay. Hey, one thing before we go, guys. Amanda, do we have anything else?
Yes, we're still going. What are you doing?
Oh, okay. All right. Peter LaBarbera's here. Peter, could you just opine briefly what you want to talk about, if they can fit you in later tonight?
As we've I've been involved in the design of a sewer line serving 4 properties on the back of Cold Hill Road. As the sewer line design and project has been approved by the Board of Selectmen, and so as a procedural requirement, we have to check in with your commission and others just to verify or clarify whether or not there would be any commission concerns or wetland issues. In my opinion, there aren't, but you may want to just walk, some member of the commission or whomever, some representative may want to walk the site. It's a 650-foot long line. It's on the side of a hill. Somebody may just want to go out there with me, walk it from end to end, and just confirm, to satisfy the requirement of a commission sign off. That's pretty much it. It's just trying to satisfy a procedural requirement. I wouldn't say that there do not appear, in my opinion, to be wetlands within 100 feet of any of the construction activity. But I think that somebody conceivably could say there was wetlands 120 or 150 feet away. So just to one little corner of where this sewer line is going to go. So, maybe it needs a site visit, maybe it doesn't. That's obviously up to your commission's discretion. But it's just a procedural matter that we have to take care of before construction starts.
Okay, Peter, just for the record, Dave, I'm recused on this because I'm the designer of record for the SOAR project. Okay, so I'm recused on this project. Peter, thank you. Amanda, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to get Peter in here again, given the fact that we're really pushing 10 o'clock now. So go forward. Let's move forward on this. Thanks, Amanda.
Were you gonna make an appointment, set up a site visit, people? Anyone? Do you want to add it to our Saturday? Sorry, I said our Saturday. I can't actually make it. But anyone else?
I could make it, Amanda, but I don't know if I'm qualified to do this review. So, Wenda, would you be available?
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, for Ed and work.
I hope to be available, but I don't want to spend all day. Like I can give like a couple hours. So I don't know.
Well, I have an
Yeah.
appointment at 10, I have an appointment at 10:30, so it can't go too late.
And we have two already.
Right, starting at 9 o'clock, so.
Yeah.
What about next Saturday?
Well, next Saturday's open, I think I would be available next Saturday.
You, I am not available the weekend of, I'm only available this Saturday. I'm not available the following weekend.
Okay.
Yeah,
Amanda, do you say you can't make it, Amanda?
I cannot make it on Saturday.
Okay. Well, I certainly can make it. I can do it.
What about the 27th?
I'm, March 22nd? No, I'm gonna be out of town.
27.
Oh, 27. I'm available, whatever.
That's the last Saturday of March.
Yes.
I'm available that one too, but if Amanda, you are, then let's.
I can make it on that one. I'll pencil it in now.
All
So why
right.
don't you guys do the sewer walk on that day?
Yes,
The 27th.
at 9 o'clock.
If that works, I can make it work. Is that good for you, Peter?
Yeah, and I would, that's fine. I would just say that the easiest place to meet is at the dead end of Breezy Lane.
Okay.
And I suspect that if you choose to walk the entire length of the proposed sewer line, that it's going to take about a half hour minimum.
Oh, okay.
Just
You said
because
it's
we're walking up a hill and, et cetera, so.
Okay.
Good to know. Okay, great. Well, I didn't want you to leave with empty-handed, so.
Thank you. 9 o'clock, Breezy Lane, and I'll send a email reminder to someone on the commission just to, as we get closer to that date.
Okay, real good.
Okay, that's all I need.
All right, awesome.
I'm signing off. Thank you.
Have a good
All
night. Okay, so wrapping up now. We have, and
Did
the
we,
email has been from John
I
Frederick.
don't think we formally did the continuance on 165-0340.
Yeah, I didn't get to finish. I was just saying.
Okay.
We stopped to talk to Peter. So with that, we got an email this morning from Don Frederick asking for the continuance. So I make a motion to continue to the next meeting.
Aye.
Is that a second? Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, awesome. Next one on the list is the NOI 165 filed by Mike P.O. This one has been on our agenda for a long time. And no one's here for it, so I think we're just gonna continue. I make a motion to continue to the next meeting.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Next, we have an RDA filed by Ashley Bowman. See whether work depicted on plans, referenced or subject to the Wetlands Protection Act with property located on Bachelor Street, known as Lot 6, Plan Book 244, page 105, Town of Granby. We have not heard from this applicant in multiple meetings, so should we take them off the list, or does anyone have their contact info and want to track them down? Should we ask Kathy, or should we just?
I've asked Kathy to contact Ms. Bowman, and we couldn't find any contact info.
Well, the issue is it's either they gotta file an NOI or it's automatically approved. It's past the 20 days. So I don't know what we do. We either give them a response saying they have to file or they don't have to file.
Well, don't they already have is it an RDA or is it an NOI, Amanda?
RDA.
RDA.
When was it first advertised?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know.
It was
Back
sometime.
last year.
Yeah.
Well, probably October.
I suggest we just take it off the agenda. And if they want to come back and refile, we'd be happy to entertain them. But it's absurd keeping this on the agenda for so long.
I agree.
Okay. I'm gonna follow up with Mark, just because since we didn't make a motion by the 21st day, I don't know if it technically was approved, legally speaking. So I feel like I have to check with him.
I'd be curious. Yeah, that's fine.
Make sure Mark knows that the applicant never showed up for the meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah, so technically the hearing was never initiated and it was never closed.
well, I'm wondering if maybe they applied 21 days before the meeting or something like that, so that they automatically, I mean, a sleazy person might do that. I don't know. Anyways,
That's fine. We'll just looking to have Mark.
I hear you.
I'm gonna look into it with Mark, just so we can keep our legal ducks in a row.
That's fine. Thanks.
Maybe we just have to deny it. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
All
All right. Next on the list is 1650343, filed by Daniel Copanes for the proposed construction of a single-family dwelling with lawn and associated grading within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW with regards to property at 0 Phillips Street and known as map 4B 2.9 11B in the town of Granby. We have not received an updated plan, I don't believe.
Amanda, I'm going to recuse myself on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Has anyone else seen an updated plan yet? Or are they still working on adjusting since Emily went out there?
Isn't it part of the?
I'm no, go ahead, Dave.
I thought I saw it in Dropbox somewhere.
Do we have anyone here for that project tonight?
I think Neil Jackson and Paul Campagna are the engineers of record. Again, I'm recused on this myself. My understanding from Emily is that they will be presenting a revised set of plans.
Oh.
Okay. Well, since no one is here, what was that?
We need to continue this one then?
Yeah, I don't see anyone in the audience, so no one's here for that project. Going once, going twice. All right, seeing and hearing none, I make a motion that we continue till the next meeting.
Yep.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Second or all favor, yeah.
Great. Gravel permits, were there any that we have not done yet?
I think we're finally finished.
Oh.
Okay,
Did
great.
you do Andrick and everybody already, or?
Well, that's the year 2021. We're done with 18, 19, and 20, Dave.
Oh, all right. That's what
So
you're
we
at.
just caught up on our old ones.
Okay. Gotcha.
But you're right. We got to do Orland and Andrick and some of the others. So we're done with, we were caught up on the backlog. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Okay, so maybe we can have Kathy add the list of them to our next one and we can maybe start scheduling them. Burnett/West Street concerns, anyone here for that? Seeing and hearing none. On to the administrative duties. Any commentary? Seeing and hearing none. I'm going to post the next meeting for April 13th at 7 p.m. Or I make a motion to post them on the 13th.
Sure.
Was that a second?
I'll second. Dave will second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, approve the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review Dave's minutes?
Dave did an outstanding job. Dave, well done.
Thank you.
Yes, it was great. Did anyone have any modifications, tweaks, edits? None? Okay. I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Brenda seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Bills to pay. Did anyone see anything about that? Don't think so. We did receive the financial accounts. Did not understand it like usual, but it seems fine. Oh, maybe we have a GZA check? Almost like.
Oh, yeah, that was for Emily. That was $400 going into the kitty to pay Emily for additional hours. It looks like they'll be sending her yet another check over and above the $400 as well.
Okay, do we need to do anything for that, or are we good? We don't have to
No,
vote?
that it goes right to Steve Nally in the 4453G account. We don't see that money.
Okay. Outreach education plan for the week. Oh, I'm gonna turn my camera on real quick and show you. I have a
Okay.
plant.
Oh,
Let's see if you can see it.
Oh,
Snowdrops.
oh,
Ooh.
wow. First of the year. Well done. Beautiful. I love
Very
it.
excited.
What is it?
March 9th.
They're snowdrops. They're little baby
Oh.
bulbs.
Yep,
Yeah.
sign of spring.
Nice.
Yes.
Crocuses would be next.
Got daffodils coming up, but no flowers.
Yeah. That's
Well, these are
okay.
for the side. Was there any correspondence, CBA? Something from ZBA about Green Meadow Lane?
There's a-
There's a garage variance.
Yeah, that's Mr. Playsack, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, the ZBA.
It's 107R.
Resurfacing
did-
related to it too? What?
No, Ed, did Kathy scan in all the ZBA paperwork into Dropbox or not?
I have not seen the Dropbox, so I don't know what it looks like or how to access it at this point.
Yeah, me either. I'm looking at them right now. There's 5. I don't know if that helps.
Battery's running low on my phone, so.
Okay.
Yeah, my battery's going out too. Hey, that's a good excuse to close the meeting. Here you go.
There's something about the new Leadville landfill in there. Mass DEP determination.
Oh,
I don't know. I haven't actually read through it. An aggrieved person intends to appeal. Oh no, that's the end. Okay, so personnel Mass DEP have reviewed the minor modification permit application for the landfill. Mass DEP has determined that the application is approved in accordance with MGL C 111 S15A, MGL 30A, subject to the conditions outlined below. So if you guys want to look into that a little more deeply, seems like an interesting thing.
did he give a summary as to what the modification might be physically?
It's a pretty wordy letter.
Okay.
Landfill is closed in caps.
That's typical DEP gobbledygook.
Okay, the application proposes. Oh wait, what? It's just too confusing for me to read right now.
Oh, okay, no worries. We'll look it up at a later date.
Yeah, it's important just to recognize that we received it. And then there's a amendment to a forest cut-in plan on Bittersweet Lane in Granby. Not certain where that is, but it is in the folder.
Okay, Kevin and I are recused on this one, right, Kev? Yeah, this is the Orchards golf, golf course. The Orchards golf course, I think, filed this through Mount Holyoke College in the event they're going to be cutting any trees on the Granby side of the 13th hole.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we were notified. That looks like all the ZBAs.
Bill, should this correspondence be noted and included into the minutes somehow?
Yes, note that myself and Kevin Shoemaker recused on that particular matter.
Gotcha.
Reason is Kevin's employed by the Orchards for the next 4 days. And I'm a member of the golf course.
Okay.
And Dave, you can just list that we received the correspondence and kind of like the title of the document.
Will do.
You don't have to
Will
go crazy into it. News and announcements.
Well, I think the news and announcement is Kevin Shoemaker is the new head greenskeeper at Wyckoff Country Club in Holyoke.
Oh, congratulations.
Yep, Kevin has been assistant at Orchards for a number of years, and he's now head greenskeeper at Wyckoff. That's a really nice golf course. And Kev, you're gonna have plenty of wetlands permitting there, I'll tell you. You'll really get up on the regulations, believe me.
Good
Well done.
practice.
Congratulations.
My sister was married there.
My sister too.
Great.
Okay, site visits to be scheduled. We already talked about those. Old business, Forge Pond is still in the works. 7 Phillips Circle complaint, 307 Chicopee Street, and Ferry Hill. Different enforcement / violation things that we have yet to follow up on. But one day soon. If that is all, anything else for anyone tonight? It's just after 10 o'clock.
Yep, so we're at 9 o'clock at 107R, right? Carver Street?
Right.
Yes, I will not be there. I mean, I don't think I'll be there though. There's a very good chance I will not be there. I make a motion that we adjourn at 10:03 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
great
you.
to see everyone.
Well done. Well done, everyone.
Good night. I'm gonna go lock up the building and get out of here.
Yep. Yep, thank you so much. Bye, everybody. We'll see you Saturday morning at 9 o'clock.
Definitely. Have a good one.
All right, see you Saturday.